What's up, guys? I know it's been a while. That's because I was getting my stem cell therapy done and I've been in recovery mode. I can finally do regular tricks again. I was stuck doing nollie and switch tricks for a while. So what better way than to get into it by doing something new and starting with flat bars. Before I start, I gotta show you guys my new board graphic. As I told you guys in my wall ride nollie tutorial, NARS, the board brand that I'm skating for, that's pretty prevalent in the Web3 space. They held a contest to have people design skateboard graphics for me, which I'm honored by. And this is one of the graphics that won. Designed by Woman DeGrota. I'll put his Insta tag below, DG Horizon. This is one of my favorite graphics out of all the ones ever made. I love that it looks like a crooked board and all the colors, of course. I'm really stoked to skate this because this is the first board I've ever had my name on. It's a crazy feeling. And if you guys want to buy this board and support, I'll put the link down below for you. Let's learn how to board slide. Let's start with the foot position. This is very vital with board slides, is where your front and your back foot are. I can't stress it enough. You don't want your back toes to hang off too much. You don't want your front foot up too far, because if so, your foot can slip forward off your board, but I'll get into the details. For the back foot, you want your back foot on the tail, just like you would have it for an ollie. Like I taught with ollies, you don't want that toe hanging off the edge of your board because you're gonna miss the pop. In most skateboarding tricks, your weight is pushing down on your toes or on the ball of your foot. So if you have your foot on this edge, you're gonna be pushing down over here, and you wanna be putting your weight down in the center. That's what's gonna keep your board level and give you the pop that you need. It helps to be able to see some grip tape around the edge of your shoe. And you don't want your back foot too far in the pocket either, because if it's too far in the pocket, your heel can hit the ground as you're popping, and then that causes friction and causes you to not pop as much also. Now the front foot. One common mistake people make is to put their foot too far forward, and then when you go to pop, you ollie and then your front foot slides too far up past your nose, and that's where you can get really hurt and sometimes sacked if the rail's tall enough. So you want to have it a little bit further back. For me, I got pretty long legs, so I don't have it too far back, but I also don't want to have it too far forward. I like to have it just behind those front bolts. You don't want your front foot too far on that edge, because that's obviously going to make it hard to pop. You want your weight kind of in the center of the board. You don't want it too far over here either, because if you do that, your board might want to turn a little bit as you pop versus stay level. I like to have it so my toes not hanging over the edge at all, and just a little bit close to it. Now we're rolling up to the board side. The angle is what matters the most. When you're learning it, it's going to be a little bit easier to go at a slight angle at it because it's going to just help with ollieing and getting onto it. The more parallel you are, the more chance you have of slipping back. You have to turn a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit harder to lean forward. But when you start getting good at them, you have to be more parallel to the rail. The reason why going at an angle causes more friction on the rail is because you're kind of getting onto it from the side and then you're sliding up like that. So really, more surface of your board is sliding on the rail. More surface means more friction. But if you go parallel, you're going with your momentum. Going at an angle, it's like you're going this way, but all of a sudden you want to go this way. It's like hitting a corner in a car. It's going to slow you down. But if you keep going straight, you're going the direction you're already going, nice and parallel. You're going to slide a lot better, and it's going to make it a lot easier not to stick. Also, this is a really common one that people are scared of when learning board sides, is it's so easy to get in and slip out. That's the biggest fear anyone has with this trick and the scariest part of it. But to help avoid that, you want to lean forward as you're learning this. Because leaning forward, even if you stick, you're learning it at the end of the rail anyway, so if you stick, you can at least jump forward and catch yourself with your hands. But if you lean back, how much harder is it to catch yourself like this versus like this? It's like going into a push-up. I've never seen anyone just go into a push-up like that. But again, when you're trying this trick, it will be a little bit easier to go at an angle to lean forward. If you're going more parallel, it is easier to lean back and slip out, but it does help you slide. So it's just a matter of getting comfortable with it and working your way up to it. So now you're ollieing onto the rail. You bend down obviously, and then as you get close to the rail, I like to get pretty close to the rail before I ollie onto it. It's a lot safer to do it that way. If you're too far away, you might miss it or just get on like this, and that's gonna cause you to slip out. It's safer to have more weight on your back foot in a board slide than on your front foot. So remember that, that's so important. Just think of having most of your weight over your back foot. For me, it's safer to get all the way on than to get on just like that. But obviously when you're learning and just touching the end of the rail, it's okay if you're doing that. You just gotta get comfortable with it until you're ready to get fully onto it. So for me, I do a pretty light ollie. I don't ollie too high. You don't wanna ollie so high that you're coming down onto the rail because that's gonna cause more friction, cause you to stick, could even break your board. So I like to ollie just high enough to get my board onto it. You can see that my board, it kind of gets on like this and then levels out because your weight just does that naturally. So just ollie just high enough to get those front wheels past the rail and get your board onto it. And I notice when I'm doing them, I lean a little bit this way. I think it's a little bit safer just to do that versus fully commit and lean over this side. Because again, your weight wants to be above your back foot more than your front foot. So that's why it makes sense to lean a little bit more over that back foot. This is so important with board slides, you guys. I saw a lot of your guys' comments saying that you have an issue with this, and that's getting off of the rail. And what's gonna really help with that, getting into it and getting off of it, is your shoulders. So as you're rolling up and you ollie onto the rail, don't let your shoulders turn this way. You want your shoulders to stay straight, facing forward the way that you're going, and let your legs do the turning. So think, when you're ollieing into it, look at that. Even your arm, if you have to move your arm over to keep your torso facing this way, do it. You keep your shoulders facing forward, and then when you come out, your body's gonna wanna turn back to the way that your torso is facing. You also wanna make sure you have some wax on the rail, because if it's too sticky, then you're gonna stick like crazy. I had to put a little bit on this rail, but be cautious. It's not good skate park etiquette to put too much wax on the rail. You can put a little bit on there, but the safer way to do it is to put a bunch on your board. That's the more courteous way, and it works just as well. And when you get into it, you don't have to turn your board all the way. Usually I turn almost 90 degrees and then it naturally just turns the rest of the way, but it can be really easy to overturn it and have your board be going like this. And then it's really hard to get out because you have to turn further just to get out of it. You do want to be going pretty much perpendicular to the rail, because if you're not angled enough, your board's just going to want to hit the rail before you even get off of it. Honestly, sometimes it's easier my board overturns just slightly, because then for some reason you have more room to get out of the board side and for these wheels not to hit the rail coming out. Another important part is when you're sliding is where you're looking. This will help you in doing longer board slides. When I'm rolling up to it, I'm looking at right where I'm gonna get into the rail, right before I pop. I get into it, and then I shift my eyes to look to where I'm going. So I look toward the end of the rail. That helps your balance so much versus looking straight down at your board. Also, when you're doing longer board slides, I stand pretty straight up, but I realize that it is easier to bend a little bit. It makes it safer. You have more control of yourself. It's a little easier to slide, and you're closer to the ground. If you do fall, you can catch yourself quicker. So seriously, try it. I just tried it and it worked a lot better for me. And obviously, because board slides are based on friction, it's gonna be easier to go a little bit faster. If you're going too slow, you can get hurt a lot easier. It's gonna be a lot harder to catch yourself. I mean, it is safe in some senses, like if you're just trying to touch the end of the rail, but if you're doing a longer board slide, you want to go faster. You'll slide a lot better, you have a little bit more control, you can lean more forward, you don't have the chance of slipping out so easily. I just like to have a good amount of speed and to always be leaning more over your toes than your heels and leaning back. When you're getting in, you want to have the rail pretty much in the center of your board. I noticed that I actually like to have it a little bit more where my back foot is compared to where my front foot is, because that you're just not gonna be able to hold a board slide with weight on your front foot. Like I said, you want the weight more over your back foot for this trick. It helps so much. You can be a little bit further over the rail, because then when you're coming off, this is so important. And you have that weight on that back foot with your toe hanging slightly off, you push out on that back foot, and that helps you come off the board slide. And by doing that, it kind of lifts your front wheels up, and then it enables you, if you need to give it a little tic-tac to get out. You land on the back wheels first, then put the front wheels down. And again, if you're going too slow, those back wheels, they can hit the rail coming out. That's why it's better to go faster, and you can lift with that back foot slightly and get off and roll away. That's it for board slides, guys. Let me know what flat bar tricks you want to see a future tutorial for. And be sure to stick around for the key takeaways after this to take home with you. All right, we ran into Dylan Jaeb here. And since this is a trick tips channel, I wanted to ask, what is one of the best tips that you have for skateboarding in general that you would share with people?
I think a big one for me is just like making sure you pop off like the very center of the tail. Like I feel like a lot of times you end up setting up a little bit weird and you hit the right side or the left side of your tail, and it always makes your tricks flip a little weird. Like I always set up with my foot like super deep in that pocket, so that way I make sure that I hit the center of the tail. I always kind of try to focus on this spot right here, just like in the very center of the tail.
So you're like kind of way down here in the center.
Yeah, I know it ends up hitting around here, but like I would just focus on that spot, like try to put most of my weight on that spot.
Yeah. See guys, center of the tail, it's everything.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Thanks for watching as always, guys. Till next time. Don't leave yet. Since this was a long one, be sure to hang on to these key takeaways. Pop with your back toes in the center of your tail. Go parallel to the rail to slide better. Put more weight on your back foot while sliding. Keep your torso facing forward while turning your legs only to get in and out. Bend your legs slightly for more control. And lastly, push out on your back foot to get off the rail. Go check the other tutorials on our channel. You!